There are always going to be times where we need to shoot at high ISO settings to achieve a correct exposure. And this shot here, taken at an underground station, was shot at ISO 6400. So if I just zoom in, you'll see here that we have quite a lot of noise. So the first thing that you really want to do is get the image processed up how you want it. And then you can scroll down to the detail section where you'll find noise reduction. So by default, Lightroom applies color noise reduction to an amount of 25. So if I just take that slider over to the left and remove it completely, you'll see that we get those colored flecks in the image here. And this is the first thing that we need to remove. So what Lightroom typically does is adds more noise reduction by default than you actually need. So with the color slider, if you just slowly take the slider over to the right, you'll see that that color noise disappears, and with an amount of 15 we can remove all of that color noise. So that's better than applying the full amount of 25. So the reason that you don't want to push the color slider too far is that as it goes all the way over to the right, it reduces color generally in the image. If you just watch this way out sign here as I take the slider over to 100 and then back to the left, you'll see how that's affecting the saturation there. So that's why you don't want to go too far with that slider. And we have a couple of other sliders here. We have detail, which adjusts how much detail can be recovered. And then the smoothness slider that allows you to control the appearance of smoothness in the image. But if I just go down here again and just move these sliders around, you'll see it's really difficult to see much of a difference here. And if I just do the same with the smoothness, it doesn't really do very much. So I generally find that just working with the color slider works perfectly here. So we also have luminance noise reduction. So color deals with the colored flecks, whereas luminance deals with this grainy appearance that we have here. So if I just take the luminance slider over to the right, you'll see how that grain is starting to be smoothed out. So once again, you don't want to go too hard with this slider, because if I take it all the way over to 100, you'll see that the image starts to take on a really horrible and unrealistic waxy appearance. And this actually looks worse than noise in the image, so you really don't want to take that too far. And just like the color noise reduction section, we have a detail slider. So once again, this brings back some of the detail that we've lost by using the luminance slider. And this does work much better than that with color. But again, you don't want to drag it too far over to the right because it is going to reduce the effect of the luminance slider. So for this one here, I'm just going to take it up to 65. And then the final slider that we have is contrast. And this simply increases the contrast that was lost by applying the luminance slider. So we can just take that over to the right. And it's really subtle, but you'll see there, just watch this area here. As I move the slider back and forth, it just makes the detail more defined. So I'm going to take that up to 30. So what I find is that it's best to work zoomed in for luminance noise reduction. So then once you zoom back out, you can get a really nice overview of the image. And I would say here that looking at these panels on the walls, it looks a bit too smoothed out to me. So what I'm going to do is just take that luminance slider down to 40. So it's just reducing the effect slightly, and I can start to see a tiny bit of grain coming back. When I zoom in, it's still looking much cleaner than before, but I would say the result is much more natural. So let's have a look at the before and after. So this is before any noise reduction is applied whatsoever. And then by just using those 4 sliders, remember we didn't touch the detail or smoothness sliders in the color section, we have massively improved the noise in this image while maintaining a nice and natural look.